Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars and welcome to another game review. Today I'm taking a look at Starfield for the Xbox Series S. Now, what could I possibly say about this game that hasn't been said already? Obviously there are countless videos and reviews already on YouTube about this game, but I wanted to put my two pennies worth. I've been playing this game now consistently for over a week. I'm well over 60 hours into the game now. I feel like I'm at a stage where I can give you an in-depth review. Obviously there are many more hours that I am going to be putting into this game, but essentially, what is Starfield if you don't already know, although I'm sure many of you do? Well, essentially it is Bethesda's new IP. They haven't released a brand new IP for a couple of decades now. They're obviously well known for Fallout and for the Elder Scrolls games. They needed a big hit this after Fallout 76 and the critical mauling that received upon its release, although I have played and reviewed that on the channel. It is a significantly improved game and quite a lot of fun to be had in that game as well now. But how best to describe this? Well, I put up a first impressions video for this game the day after it came out, I think it was. It might have been the second day after, something like that. And on that, I sort of had a few comments from people questioning some of the systems in the game, some of the how does this work, how does that work, and I described it to somebody in the comments that it's almost like a cross between Fallout and Mass Effect, this game. If you go into this game thinking you're going to get a fully immersive space sim, then you're probably going to be disappointed. It isn't a massively immersive space sim along the lines of No Man's Sky and Elite Dangerous and Star Citizen even though I've never played that game. It is not a game like those. It has elements of all those games, but they put the very familiar Bethesda spin on the whole proceedings. So if you like Bethesda's RPGs, you will immediately, upon turning this game on and starting, you will immediately feel like you're playing a Bethesda game. It's got that look and feel, the charm about it, if you like that sort of thing. The music is very reminiscent of what you've heard before, especially in Fallout 4. It's got a real air of familiarity about it, and that's almost like a warm comfort blanket, really, when you're playing it. You start off, basically, in this game, you are a lowly miner. You are kind of digging up for gems, and then you kind of find this strange artifact. You touch it, it kind of connects with you, and then your adventure begins. Basically, you get access to your first ship within the first 15 minutes of the game, something like that, and then you're off into the stars. And I'm not going to spoil any more of the story than that. But in true Bethesda fashion, the main quest here is not the main selling point. The main selling point here of this game is you can, as you do in Bethesda RPGs, get completely lost in the side content, the side activities, the side missions, the companion missions, because yes, of course, there are many companions here to find within the game, and they'll all have their own quest lines, things for you to get involved with. So you could completely ignore the main mission for a good 50, 60 more hours if you really wanted to, and just concentrate on the side missions, on the side activities. If you want to just fly to planets and build your own bases on those planets, build your own little cities, you can go around and scavenge resources. You can become a pirate and rob other people's ships. You can do all them things, really, if that's what you just want to do. You don't necessarily have to do the main quest. Now, there is an advantage to doing some of the main quests because it will give access to new pieces of equipment and things like that, but there's loads of ways to get some really cool equipment. If you look at like guides on YouTube, there is loads and loads of different space suits that you can get and different ships and all that kind of stuff without doing the main quest. So you're not tied to doing the main quest for a long period of time at all. You can just do what you want when you want to do it. So as I've said, as you play games like No Man's Sky and stuff, you know, you've got that seamless taking off on planets and going up into the space, so on and so forth, which is really cool. You do not get this here. What you do get is a lot of loading screens. You can either take that or leave it. You know, some of the loading screens are longer than others. Some of them are only 5 seconds. Some of them are 15 seconds. It's a typical Bethesda game. I would have liked to have seen the loading screens reduced. I would have liked it to take less time here and there, but they are there. So if you want to take off from the planet, you click take off. There's a loading screen, and then essentially there's like a cutscene of you taking off, and then you are in the atmosphere around that planet. You can fly around, you can fly to the other planets in that system. It's just going to take you a long time. So essentially you will plot a course to another planet in that system if you want to, and then you'll see another cutscene of you travelling to that planet. If you want to land on the planet, again, you'll click land on the planet and you'll get another cutscene of the ship landing. So, but one of the things I think this game does brilliantly well is, yes, okay, you do lose some of that freedom here, and some of that grounded reality, if you want to call it that. But what freedom you give up here, I think, is made up by just how accessible this game is. Bethesda are acutely aware of how big this game is, because it's out there, it's well documented, it's a huge game, there's loads of exploring to be done, and you could pretty much fast travel anywhere. As long as you've visited the place you want to fast travel to, you can fast travel there. So you could be on a planet, and if you want to fast travel to another planet you've visited to go and speak to a character that you need to talk to about something, if you want to run back to your ship, do the animation where you get in your ship, run up to your cockpit, get in your cockpit, take off, get in the atmosphere, and then head to that planet. You can do all of that if you want to keep it as immersive as you want. Or you can just kind of go to the menu, go to the star map sort of thing, and then essentially fast travel to where you want to go. It makes the game really, really accessible. So there are times when you want to be more immersive, you want to see those cutscenes of you getting in your cockpit, taking off and things like that, especially when you've got a new ship. You want to look at the ship that you've just bought. But after a while, you want to complete a quest and get it over with fairly quickly for whatever reason. So it makes sense just to fast travel there if you need to. And I really like the fact that they've done that, Bethesda. It does make the game, I think, easier and more accessible for you. Obviously, much has been said about the shipbuilding here, and while I haven't experimented a great deal with the shipbuilding here in this game, it is available if you want to do it. It looks really cool, and probably I'm going to experiment with it, maybe a later game, another 20 hours into the game, something like that. I'm probably going to give it a go. I haven't even done an awful lot of base building yet, and that's usually my bag. I got absolutely consumed by that in Fallout 4. So I'm trying to actually focus more on the game and the missions rather than getting sidetracked with the base building and the shipbuilding. I'm more interested in kind of going to the shipyards, having a look what's for sale, and maybe buying something cool. Which I think is it's quite addictive. I found it quite addictive in No Man's Sky and Elite Dangerous. That ship that just seems out of reach, so you need to get more credits to kind of get there. That I find quite an addictive gameplay loop. Obviously, with this being an RPG, there's a huge Bethesda skill tree, as you would expect. There's different parts of the skill tree. You've got a physical part, you've got a combat part, you've got a tech tree, and you can put points into any of those things so you can build the character that you want to build. Do you want to build a stealthy character? Do you want to build like a melee character? You can do all of those things here again. I think the only thing that some people may find frustrating, it doesn't bother me too much, is as you kind of unlock like a skill point, like if you unlock a skill point, for example, in physical to make yourself stronger so that you can carry more weight, to move to the next level, if you get another skill point, you can't just put another skill point in there. You've got to like complete a little bit of a challenge. So it might be run like 2,000 meters or something while you're over encumbered or something like that. And once you've ticked that challenge, you can then put like another point into that area sort of thing in the physical set. So every section has got like a challenge before you can move up to the next level. You'll either find that frustrating or it won't bother you. It didn't necessarily bother me too much. Obviously, you can create your own character, and there is a really in-depth character creator at the beginning of the game. You obviously can choose male, female. You can go as in-depth into that as you absolutely want to. You can choose their backgrounds, all that kind of stuff, and it's typical Bethesda fun. The graphics for me, I think, look really good for the most part. I think they're nicely polished. I think the character models, most of them look good. Some of the lesser NPCs look a bit dodgy, but it wouldn't be a Bethesda game without that, I suppose. And where are we on the bugs and glitches? Well, I said in my first impressions video that I hadn't experienced any bugs or glitches or crashes. Now 60 plus hours into the game, that's not necessarily the same now. I have experienced some bugs. I've had one crash, I have had some bugs, and one kind of glitch where I'd got myself a new ship, but when I took off into orbit, the ship wouldn't move while I was in space. It just stood there like a brick and I couldn't move it or control it. But I just kind of reloaded a previous save in, and that took care of the problem. So nothing overly concerning. I mean, compared to other Bethesda titles, I mean, they're legendary for their bugs and glitches and crashes. I wouldn't say it has ruined my experience at all. 60 plus hours into the game, I definitely hasn't. So I wouldn't let it put you off, guys. For me, it runs really nicely in the Xbox Series S. If you're a really tolerant gamer, then you're not going to have any issues with the things that's going on here. If you want perfection, then obviously you're going to have an issue with some aspects of the game. But again, just go into this game, guys. Have fun. Be the character you want to be. Do what you want to do. You've got really a lot of freedom to do what you want in this game. Just don't expect complete immersion. It's not a sim. It's an RPG. Just remember that when you go in. Don't go in expecting like this completely freedom-filled sim, because it isn't that. For me, I think it's a wonderful title, thoroughly enjoying it, and I'm giving it a really solid 9 out of 10. I don't think it deserves a 10 out of 10. It's not just the open and free game that I was hoping for, but it is definitely an awful lot of fun. So I hope you enjoyed this review. Thank you very much for watching.